Believe it or not, we are officially a quarter of the way through 2024, so I just wanted to stop for a second and highlight 5 films that are the best so far this year and certainly have a chance to end up on my top of the year list come December. Number 5 is Dune Part Two. I mean, this is the largest film of the year and it deserves its praise. Obviously, the second installment in the Dune trilogy, hopefully from Denis Villeneuve. Villeneuve has not confirmed 100% that Dune Messiah will indeed close out this potential trilogy, kind of noting that he's not going to make it unless it is better than the second. All of that being said, it is almost a guarantee. It has had success at the box office. It's had success with critics and fans alike, so I would be pretty shocked if we did not get a third Dune. In Dune Part 2, we have all of the action that people were potentially complaining about in the first. We got a lot of the exposition out of the way, and we had battles, we had ceremonies and rituals, we had all of these amazing visuals come together in this second part. Perhaps the most astounding visual that has received praise from, literally the world's greatest directors. Spielberg has spoken about it, Christopher Nolan has spoke about it. This worm sequence where we have Paul Atreides, Timothée Chalamet finally ride the sandworm, kind of his final test, so to speak, to prove that he is worthy. There's also some beautiful cinematography shot on Getty Prime, obviously not literally on this fictional planet, but all of the sequences that we see on Getty Prime are shot on these beautiful infrared cameras that give this kind of translucent reptilian quality to the Harkonnens, which is super, super cool to watch. That being said, there is a lot going on here, almost in juxtaposition to the first. Sometimes it might have been nice to slow things down and allow for a little bit of exposition, but it's tough to create a more gorgeous film than Villeneuve did here. Number 4 is exhibiting forgiveness. In clear contrast to number 5, Dune, we have a film here that has not been seen by too many folks, and hopefully we will see that change. It had its premiere at the Sundance Film Festival, and I was lucky enough to catch the world premiere with Kafar Is, a world-renowned artist having, as I mentioned, galleries in world-famous museums like the Museum of Modern Art, for example. In fact, this film is actually playing at MoMA in April, which is one of the only showings that we have announced. It's still seeking distribution, unfortunately. That's the reality for a lot of indie projects. This film is coming from someone who is, as I've mentioned multiple times, clearly an artist. It is beautiful in its literal artwork that Kafar crafted for the film, but it's beautiful in its emotional depth and breadth, and in not giving a black and white thesis. This is not a film saying that you must forgive those who have wronged you. It's a film that shows us that there is no right process when it comes to forgiveness or for dealing with trauma or for building or tearing apart relationships. It's truly individual and it'll look different for everyone. As I mentioned, no set release date for this yet, but hopefully it is picked up and it can be seen widely in 2024. Number 3 is As We Speak. This is actually a documentary rooted in the book Rap on Trial that essentially explores the weaponization of hip-hop lyrics against artists themselves. It's a fascinating look from director J.M. Harper into this world that maybe we don't think too much about. Throughout centuries of art, lyrics, words on paper, words spoken out loud have not always been taken literally. They've been seen as an extension of artistic expression, but when it comes to hip-hop and when it comes to rap, these words that are present in art and songs have literally been used in courts as evidence against hip-hop artists, rappers, primarily African-American rappers, although there's an exploration in this film that goes to England and some other places as well. The film uses an actual rapper, Kemba from the Bronx, as our central subject as he kind of goes around and talks to people either in the rap world or the legal space and kind of explores this whole idea of the weaponization of rap lyrics. What separates this documentary from many other traditional documentaries is that it's not overly reliant on talking head footage. It's not just subjects speaking to a camera like I am now. Harper uses his own artistry as an accomplished editor. For example, he edited the Netflix project Genius, the Kanye West story, and his kind of artistic flair and approach is certainly evident here. We have a lot of shots that are seen more in narrative features than in traditional documentaries. We even have a full scene in which a group of rappers reenact a scene from Romeo and Juliet to again illustrate that violence has been present in art as an expression of our human reality for hundreds of years. There have been some who have said that maybe there's a little bit too much style over substance here, but I personally was a fan of the approach. We've all seen the same Netflix documentary 1,000 times now, so it's nice when someone is willing to do something different. This one did premiere at Sundance as well, but was not given a theatrical release. However, it is available to stream currently on Paramount+. Number 2 is Didi. Didi is a coming-of-age film from Sean Wang, starring Isaac Wang, and the way that I have kind of described this project is that it's a combination of mid-90s and Rice Boy Sleeps. Mid-90s, of course, being the Jonah Hill kind of skate coming-of-age story, and Rice Boy Sleeps, a lesser-known project from Canadian director Anthony Shim from last year, kind of a cultural coming-of-age story, this in-betweenness that one feels as kind of a first-generation immigrant. Sean Wang combines these elements so beautifully. We have a film that actually feels like it was shot in the late 2000s. It's set in 2008, I believe. We have online chats, we have skateboarding, we have the school halls, we have all of these things that feel very real, coming from someone who did go to high school kind of around that same time. Also, the performance from Isaac Wang is not getting talked about nearly enough. Child actors have it so tough. Normally they're not that great. I mean, I think that we've all seen some pretty awful child performances, but then on the other hand, when they put forward great work, they don't seem to get as much praise or recognition as their adult counterparts. His performance here was so beautifully grounded, so emotional, but never really melodramatic, just very rooted in this tough reality of trying to fit in, of coming of age, of battling these different parts of oneself. This is another Sundance project, common theme on this list so far, given that the real film season doesn't tend to heat up until late spring into the summer and fall, but it is scheduled for a wide release in theaters July 26th of this year, so mark that one down on your calendar if you're interested in one of the better coming-of-age stories that I've seen in recent years. And the number one film of 2024 so far is A Real Pain. This is yet another Sundance entry on this list, coming from second-time feature director Jesse Eisenberg and starring Eisenberg himself alongside a brilliant performance from Kieran Culkin. Essentially, this film is based on Eisenberg's own life. He has created various versions of this project over the years, a lot of them actually being performed on stage. In fact, Eisenberg has played both of these characters in this film in multiple different versions of the story. The film follows Eisenberg and Culkin, two cousins, very different cousins, as they travel to Poland to revisit the town where their grandmother lived, a survivor of the Holocaust, and they go revisit this shortly after her death. In real life, this is based on Eisenberg's aunt, but in the film, it's his grandmother. What is very interesting about the project is that yes, it is exploring the pain of the Holocaust, but it mostly uses these settings, these locations, the history, the tragedy as a backdrop to allow for the seemingly minute pain of the everyday to take center stage. We have Culkin's character, who is simultaneously charismatic but also self-destructive. He's that person who at first glance seems so happy, he's gregarious, he's out there, but he has tremendous pain and in fact does not necessarily feel like he should be entitled to happiness because he's been granted in many objective ways a good life. This is somewhat contrasted with Eisenberg's character, who described in the film that his pain is unremarkable. He's anxious, he struggles in social settings, not too much unlike Eisenberg himself, but again, he views this pain as unremarkable when compared to Culkin's. At the end of the day, we have two very strong performances. Culkin taking the cake, definitely. He was so good, so good. Probably my number one performance of the year to date. And it's a fairly simple story, as the title suggests, about real pain. I will leave my full reviews for most of these films that I've already done on the channel in the description below, and if you watch this, thank you as always. Do the like thing, the comment thing, the subscribe thing, and maybe watch the next video I put out. That would be wonderful. Thanks.